Okay, good night. I hope that you guys are having a great time today. And well, today I am here to talk about the issues in collecting data, But first of all, I would like to just go in a deep way to explain to you what are the different types of, you know, data instruments. First of all, I would like to start by saying hello, and I hope that you guys are having a great time here today. And well, the first one that I'm going to be mentioning is, you know, what is an instrument, okay? And how can we help, other peoples to collect data and how they can turn those instruments into, like something that's going to be benefit to his teaching practice or to her teaching practice. Now, instrument for data collection, is not is only fundamental for the researcher, in this case, a teacher, the different instruments to collect data, but also we have to know the approaches that are behind all of that information. I mean, the first approach consists in formulating a research hypothesis and then collecting all the data in order to validate or disprove the hypothesis. The second approach is exactly the opposite. The researcher first collects data, then examines the data for insights, and from this formulates a hypothesis. Now, I'm going to start explaining to you, what is the first data collection instrument that I found. Well, the interview, I think that we have done this very much in our classrooms because we interview our students every time we want to know something from them. I mean, the main objective for this instrument is to obtain information by actually talking to the subject under study. In this case, I don't know if this has happened to you, but you ask your students, hey, how do you feel today? What's going on with you? What's the problem? And in a way, we're just getting information from them. And, like implicitly or explicitly, we are doing it. And that's something that we all do in our daily basis. Now, this is a very popular method that I bet you guys have done in a point in your lives. And well, sometimes they might be questioned about classroom events individually or as a group, because if we are focused on, specific details, I mean, we want them to answer more, accurate their feelings. Now, what are the disadvantages of this? I mean, individual interviewers are time consuming and subjective and biased information in order to please the interviewer. Like this, I don't know if this had happened to you, but when you interview your students individually, they will try to, please you and just like tell you what you want to hear. Now, interviews can be open, semi-open, and semi-structured, and also structured interviews. Now, the second one is a questionnaire. This instrument is usually printed. They can include questions or statements that are responded to anonymously. Questionnaires are similar to interviews in this type of data that are provided. What are the advantages? Well, they can be administered to large groups of subjects. Data provided tend to be uniform and standard. Data collection can be accurate, and application saves a lot of time. I have applied these in my classrooms when I want to know how they're feeling. For example, at the beginning of the course, I would always do a questionnaire regarding what's the best way for them to learn something? What's the best way for them to do something in the classroom? What would they like to, learn in the classroom? What's the best way for them to, interact with their teacher or their classmates? I think that one of the, disadvantages of this time, it will be if one of your students did not answer the questionnaire in the classroom and they take it home, I mean, probably the results are not going to be accurate as much as you want them. So I think that, I mean, again, this is something that you can use in order if you want to save time. But just as the one that I mentioned before, questionnaires can be open, semi-open, semi-structured, and structures as well. Now, I would like to go to the third one, a case study. Oh my God, I think I like this one because this instrument focuses on one or a few individuals. Case studies are longitudinal, that is, well, they follow the individual's development over a longish period of time. I think that this is what we do unconsciously on a daily basis because I mean we try to focus on what they're doing, what's the behavior through the course, through the trimester or probably semester, and meaning we try to describe what's going on in this, subject's interlanguage. probably a few years in order to describe the process. And also, I would like to mention that a case study research is very useful for drawing up hypotheses that can be tested later on with more representative samples. Case studies can be neo-ethnographic, evaluative, multi-site, and action. And well, here I would like to use Adelman and all. In 1966, he says that there are six main advantages to this case study. Well, they're based on reality. It is claimed that case studies are generalizable. It can become a data bank for future researchers who may wish to examine other areas or reinterpret the data that they have already collected. So these insights gained through case studies can be immediately put into practice in some cases. And finally, case studies are more accessible to non-specialist audiences than conventional research. And well, last one is a diary. I think that I have done this not in a very formal way, but in an informal way when I take notes on what they're doing, what they're learning, and something that happened in the classroom and that discussed, me to pay more attention to what they were doing. And I think that even though that our diaries are anecdotal and subjective, they can provide crucial clues about what learners feel and about what they process information and how they process information as well. So mental operations and strategies used in language learning cannot be observed in studies unless students report on them. This diary technique is very useful for exploring learning strategies that students may have in different situations, how they feel, what's their reaction to the content of the class. And I think that diaries are very appropriate. Now, I would like to address a little bit more on issues in collecting data, because this is what I'm trying to explain to you right now. Now, there are some issues that I thought that were very useful and they were very important for me to mention. I think that when we collect information, research data, is that there should be a triangulation, okay? What is a triangulation? Well, this is sort of like taking into consideration different perspectives in order to have like a broader picture of a particular phenomenon. And in this case, when we observe something, think that one of these forms of data triangulation is with a variety of sampling strategies. For example, when data related for the time and social situations collected on different occasions to ensure that the objectives proposed are studied. Or for example, when the investigator triangulation is when more than one observer contributes to finding in order to give the research study greater reliability. Now, talking about reliability, I would like to mention something here. Um, Now, there should be something that I should mention that reliability refers to the consistency and replicability of a research internal. Reliability refers to the consistency of data collection, analysis, and interpretation. And external reliability refers to the extent to which independent researchers can reproduce a study and obtain results similar to those obtained in our original study. Now, I think that reliability is like how consistent can the study be, and both over time and across a variety of people who might use them. So I think this is a very clear example of what we do in our daily basis. Now, the last thing I would like to address on today is, what is, validity? Validity, as a technical concerning experimental studies, validity takes two important forms. First, I think that is their notion of internal validity. Study is said to have internal validity if the outcomes of the external experiment can be directly and ambiguously attributed to the treatment applied to the experimental group, rather than control factors. Internal validity, on the other hand, relates and connects to the extent to which the results of an experimental study can be reliable and not ambiguous, and related to the treatment which was implemented. So I think that this is what I wanted to say today. That there might be a lot of instruments for data collection. There might be a lot of instrument for classroom research, but there are also some issues that will emerge in time, and we need to be very cautious and pay attention to those. Um, my explanation for today was based on Universidad EXPRO, observation and research in the classroom context. And I hope that you enjoy my talk today. And I shall see you to the next time. And well, this is all for today. I hope that you learned something.